I'm Dr. Christopher Brelix. Thank you so much for joining us. I am chair of the Dutchess Community College Academy of Music. Joining me, and who you will hear from later, is Dr. Elizabeth Gerby. I'm going to be talking to you about the credit music programs at Dutchess Community College. We offer an Associates of Science in Performing Arts music track and a music performance certificate. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about that. So let's start. First and most important, when you're going to college or any endeavor of study, there's the people you should know. And if you're involved with music, we all know a lot of it is about who you know. And you should know, first off, me. So I'm Academy of Music chair. And I put my email address right there, and I answer questions. So you should also, the reason you should know certain people so that you can ask them questions. Another person you should know, Dr. Elizabeth Gerby, who you'll be hearing more from soon. She is the lesson coordinator, so you will be taking one-on-one lessons. She is your point person for that, as well as teaching a number of excellent classes. Dr. Thomas Costello is the Performing Arts Program Chair. So there's the music component, and within a larger perspective, if you're doing our Performing Arts music track, you will be taking some other classes that it will be good for you to know about Tommy Costello, who is in charge of theater programs as well as the performing arts program as a whole. And then last but not least, Francisco Roche Escalera. He is the music advisor. He's the person, when you want to register, when you want to sign up for classes, you have some kind of logistical problem with financial aid, registration, or anything like that, he is the person to talk to, as well as for when you're getting ready for transfer. He is a wonderful, amazing resource. So that is why I put his email address there as well. Other things in terms of people you should know is we try to connect you with the other students and peers who are going to the college. It's very important. There's people I met while I was doing my undergraduate, my master's work, my doctoral work, who I'm still in touch with now and who I collaborate with, I perform with. And so the people that are sitting next to you in class are people that might be future members of your band, collaborators, or just people you should keep in touch with. So we try to facilitate that by establishing 2 Facebook pages, the DCC Credit Music Program Facebook page, and you can go ahead as soon as you're done listening to this, you can go and get involved and just see what we post there, because we post things about things that are happening in the program on campus, as well as things like job opportunities. So I always try to make sure that I help my alumni find jobs, have a career. So we will post opportunities for summer internships, job openings, and all sorts of things like that. The other Facebook page is the Performing Arts at DCC. That's a little bit more general. We post things about music, but you'll also learn things about theater and dance on that page. And then finally, the DCC website, www.suny-dutchess.edu, and specifically Academy of Music. Now, the Academy of Music, I should explain, has 2 branches. At the very beginning, I said credit programs. And the reason I specified is because we also have credit-free programs. Now, that's generally geared towards younger people than college age, as well as older lifelong learners. So that's kind of what that's all set up for. Let's move on to our next slide. Who are these programs for? So we learned about people you should know. Now, who are they for? Incoming requirements. You need to have musical potential. You don't necessarily need to be 100% accomplished, ready to go and have a performing career. I mean, that's great if you do, but you have to have the potential. And part of the way that we help you gauge that is by setting up a placement audition for you. So you should ask for that. When you register, when you meet with Francisco, you should say, hey, what about my placement audition? Or you can just email me directly and we'll set up a time. You can submit a video. We could set up a time to meet. There's a lot of different options. And that placement audition is so that we can help guide you in terms of what's the best classes and whether this is really a program that you're going to have some success with. Thirdly, you need to have time. I understand sometimes students have a job, and you just need to be very careful and very protective of your time. When you come to DCC and you enroll in one of our music programs, you are making an investment in your future, in your life, in your career, in your happiness. And the only way an investment works is if you put in the necessary time to be successful. It doesn't make any sense to sign up for a bunch of music classes, work two jobs, and fail at everything. That does not serve you. So you want to make sure you have the time. And then, of course, the motivation and the work ethic. Because people who go into music love music. You have to have that motivation, and you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to want to practice your music. You have to want to learn everything you can about music. And if you have that passion, or even if you're unsure, but you're like, I want to find out if I have that passion, you can sign up for our programs. And the way you find out, you sign up and you do your best. And you do your best and you say, how did that feel? Right? So even if there's a little bit of uncertainty, we will help you find that out, whether you have that potential, whether you have that motivation. We can help you, but that's what we are expecting. Now, part of the way that you prove your work ethic is doing some of those basic functions. Like when you sign up and you get your DCC email, you got to check that email. You got to be the kind of person who is on top of things. And so I put here, just because I know this sometimes when you're just getting started and I'm happy, you send me an email, I'll respond to your personal email. But once you become a student, I'm going to send emails to your DCC email. And so you want to make sure that you're the kind of person who's on top of that. Maybe that means you set it up and you call the help desk and you have them help you set it up so it forwards to the email account that you check every day. That's very important. Also, I talked about making an investment in yourself and an investment in your future. We have financial aid. There are scholarships available. You should look into that. And Francisco is the kind of person who can help you do that. So part of this is you have to be the motivated person who asks about these things, which is if you're watching this right now, you're already that kind of person. And you want to make sure that you ask, what about my placement audition? Do I qualify for financial aid? Maybe I should just fill out the application and find out. These are the things, these are the other side of the work ethic and the motivation is putting all those pieces together. Now, you get done with DCC, you go and you transfer. What kind of career can you expect? Well, we've had lots of alumni go on to become teachers, to become international performers, become composers, become recording engineers and producers, or people involved in the music business. Sometimes parents are worried, will this person I love be able to have a career and put food on the table? The answer is, of course they can. It's a billion-dollar industry, the music business. Now, if you say the only thing I want to do is sing on a Caribbean island for a stadium of thousands of people, well, you might not be able to have that career in music, but you can have a career in music. The music career needs people in terms of graphic design to help promote music concerts, tour managers. There's just so many people who are involved with making music happen, from the recording industry, promotion, business managers, all of that kind of stuff. And getting a degree here at Dutchess Community College in music means that you understand this world of music. You understand the language. Even if you're not necessarily a performer down the road as a career, you know how to talk to them because you understand where they're coming from. I should also mention that we welcome non-music majors. Almost all of our classes are open to non-majors. So if you're the kind of person who says, listen, I love music, I want it to be a part of my life for forever, but I might pursue another major, you can still come and take classes in the music program that will benefit you and enrich your life. All right. DCC Music Program alumni. I mentioned our alumni, and I'm really, really proud of what they've achieved. They transfer a lot of the time to the other SUNY State University of New York schools, in part because they have very good programs, they're part of our system, and they're very affordable. So primarily quality, but then, hey, as an added bonus, it's pretty affordable. So SUNY Potsdam Crane School of Music, we've had many, many, many students go there, especially those who are interested in music education. SUNY Fredonia, another great institution for music education. SUNY Purchase, great institution for performers, jazz, and classical, as well as composers and recording engineers, especially those of you interested in more contemporary music. Western Connecticut State University is a great institution for our musical theater students. So I'm not saying that's all they can do, but that tends to be, those are like our top 4 places that are accepting our students who graduate from the music program at DCC and what they're interested in. And just to show you that I'm not making up stories, I have names of students and they're getting jobs. They're going to these schools like Nicholas Murray. He's now a music teacher teaching grades 5 through 12 in the Hancock Central School District, which is in New York State in the Binghamton area. Nicholas Piparato is a music teacher teaching grades 6 and 7, the Monticello Central School District. Anjani Amin is a visiting instructor of music theory and oral skills at Oberlin, which is a prestigious college in Ohio. Sean Frawley had a prestigious internship with Warner Music Group in New York City, so he was working for the people who like dealt with Madonna and top top of the food chain music. So he got a whole side of the music business side of things. And then finally, Ben Basili, who's a bass player who's been touring with ska bands in over 30 different countries across 6 continents. And so success as performers in the music business and as educators. Let me talk about one of the backbone of the music program at Dutchess Community College, and that is the individual lessons. One-on-one lessons is the single best way for you to become a better musician. You get one-on-one instruction. You register, you then email Dr. Elizabeth Gerby, you tell her what you want to study, whether that's voice, what style, piano. She will assign you a teacher who you can then contact. You then set up the day and time for your lesson based on your schedule and your teacher's schedule. Now, don't be crazy and be like, I am only available on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Like, you can't be that inflexible. You have to give a range of dates, which is why I mentioned earlier that you need to have the time available. You can't have too many family obligations, too many work obligations, so much that it precludes you from being able to take lessons and really get the most out of the program. There's an organization meeting the very first Friday of the semester at 12 p.m. After that, your lesson time is based on what you and your teacher establish. There's opportunities for you to perform. Maybe you have a little stage fright. Maybe you need to work out some of your stage presence. We have performance forums, and we have a very rigorous jury process at the end of the semester where you perform in front of a panel of our faculty and you get top-notch feedback on what you can do to take your music game to the next level. So I'm going to ask Elizabeth Gerby, who's still here with us, to just tell a little bit more about the value of the individual lessons and why this is the backbone of the program. So Dr. Gerby, if you are there, can you please tell everyone?
Hello. That was a wonderful presentation, Dr. Brelix, thank you. But there is one notable missing facet of your presentation, which is that Dr. B forgot to mention all of the roles in education that musicians can hold. And I know this because I was a DCC student 25 years ago, and now 3 graduate degrees later, and I work at the very, very same institution. I never had a private lesson before I went to DCC. I learned everything that I know about music from that day forward. So we do offer a very, very comprehensive curriculum. And most importantly, we don't require that you have any extant knowledge in the instrument that you want to take or in the singing lesson that you want to take. We are happy to take beginners of all varieties. If you have never sung a note, if you have never played a note on the instrument, that's part of my job, is to set you up with the right teacher for your immediate goals. And that's different than what other colleges offer, because at many other schools, unless you are one of the thoroughbred musicians, they can't accommodate you, but we do things a little bit differently. And we have what we call a jury process. That's not our word. That's the conservatory term for your end of year final, where you have the opportunity to play for a whole slew of our amazing faculty, which include folks that have sung on many Broadway stages, that have sung at the Metropolitan Opera, that have toured with luminaries from all over the world. And you get to have the benefit of all of their input on your playing and your singing. And I know that might sound a little scary, but actually it's a wonderful thing, because then you are showered with amazing advice from an amazing faculty. Dr. B, what else would you like me to elaborate on?
I think that's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Gerby. I'm going to call on you again in a moment. So let's proceed with the presentation. That was wonderful. So I wanted to share with you, so not only am I part of the program and Dr. Gerby, but we have, as Dr. Gerby mentioned, some wonderful faculty members. So I had them record a little bit of a video to share with you. So this is Erin Stewart, one of our and you can see in the side, she teaches individual lessons as well as a class called vocal repertoire. So let's have her tell a little bit more about what she does.
Hi, my name is Erin Stewart, and I teach in the Performing Arts Department at Dutchess Community College. I have been there since 2014, and before that I performed on Broadway as Mrs. Nordstrom in A Little Night Music, and also I've played Christine in The Phantom of the Opera. At DCC, I teach voice lessons. I also teach a class called Vocal Repertoire. So with voice lessons, this is one-on-one, so it's individualized, and students can sing in a multitude of styles. So if pop or musical theater or classical is your thing, or all of the above, you'll have the opportunity to work on songs that are best suited for your voice and your needs and your interests. And we work on things like vocal technique, breath support, song presentation, musicality, diction, also things like how to deal with getting nervous, right? So this is a great opportunity to learn more about your voice, take the mystery out of singing, and grow as a singer. With vocal repertoire, this class, it's an elective. It's a great class for anyone who loves to sing and wants to get more experience singing in front of people, because it's one thing to sing by yourself in your room, and it's another to put yourself out there, get up in front of your peers and perform. And this is an invaluable experience, and the only way to grow as a performing artist, by actually just doing it. And I love this class because it's a safe space for students to push the limits of what they can do, and everyone is extremely supportive. You have the opportunity to get up and sing songs throughout the semester, typically 3 to 4 songs. You'll also learn about different musical styles, so the difference between singing a pop song and singing a classical song. You'll learn about song preparation, vocal health, taking care of your instrument and taking care of your body, anatomy, audition techniques, and really so much more. So if this sounds you, I invite you to join us and be a part of this amazing team at DCC.
Right. So I should mention also that we offer lessons in everything. So not just voice, but piano, all different styles of piano, from contemporary styles like gospel and pop rock, to jazz, to classical. Of course, we have guitar, we have every wind instrument, so clarinet, flute, saxophone, bassoon, oboe, brass instruments, trumpet, trombone, French horn, tuba, as well as all the string instruments, violin, viola, cello, bass, composition lessons as well as, and we can also teach you pretty much just any music subject. We have faculty who can do that. So if you're interested in like recording technology or producing or rap or hip hop, we have people who actually have been involved in those areas that can help you. So what we can offer with under that individual lesson umbrella is very, very broad. But we also offer you opportunities to play in ensembles. This is where you get to collaborate with other people. So we have a chorus, which sings a broad range of repertoire, a show choir, a jazz ensemble, and an orchestra. And I actually conduct the orchestra most semesters and really very much enjoy it. We also have musicals. They're normally in the fall semester. Past musicals include things like In the Heights, Cabaret, and Hair. So I want to invite Dr. Gerby back because she is typically the music director who conducts the pit orchestra and coaches all the singers to tell you a little bit more about how amazing the musical experience can be at Dutchess Community College. So Dr. Gerby.
Well, hello again. So I didn't mention before that I'm actually a career musical director. So when you go see a Broadway show and you see someone who's either waving their hands in front of the stage or more often now they're playing a piano and nodding their head and their shoulders to keep the beat. So I'm that person who's keeping the musical narrative of the show going. So as Dr. B mentioned, I conduct the shows and musical direct the shows at DCC. And one thing that I would like to mention that is unique about our institution is you might have noticed some of the titles of the shows that we've done, like In the Heights and Hair, and how those are perhaps more diverse titles than you might be used to seeing in high school. And that is because we have such a diverse student body at DCC. So we're able to offer some dramatic experiences that students have never had before. So for example, when we did In the Heights, which is a bilingual production, it takes place in Washington Heights, that we really got to feature our large number of extremely talented Latinx students at the college. So that's one thing that we really take into consideration is we look at our students and we see who they are and what stories it is that they would like to tell, and we program pieces accordingly.
Great, thank you very much. So let's also move forward and have one of our other ensemble directors tell you a little bit more about show choir and the way he teaches individual lessons.
Hi, I'm John Howell in the music program as part of the Performing Arts Department. I teach a variety of classes, including music appreciation. I give private voice lessons, and I'm also the director of the DCC Show Choir. The show choir was founded in 2015, and we were originally a small group of 12 singers, but over the years we've doubled in size and become a multifaceted student-led ensemble. We perform mostly songs from contemporary musical theater, as well as pop songs and a little bit of jazz. And most of our numbers feature choreography, so there is a student choreographer that I work with to help design the show. We rehearse once a week to learn music as well as choreography, and we also feature a live band in our performances, so there are student musicians who regularly get to play in the ensemble. And one year we even featured the entire brass section of the DCC Jazz Ensemble. We perform twice a year, once at the end of each semester in Dutchess Hall, and the shows are always a multimedia event. We have a student lighting director, and there are often student assistants from the theater program who get to help out as part of the official sound crew. We perform for official school functions, and we occasionally perform at community-wide events. This past fall, the show choir was invited to give a virtual performance for the Walkway Over the Hudson Foundation as part of their annual fundraiser. And we got to perform alongside actress Mary Stuart Masterson, folk singer Dar Williams, and the jazz legend Herb Alpert. And that was a real treat to be part of that event. I also teach voice lessons, and I work with all voice types from all musical backgrounds. I focus primarily on traditional vocal technique, but I make that applicable to both classical and contemporary vocal styles. So I require that my students usually learn one classical piece each semester, so that they're receiving a strong foundation in vocal pedagogy and a broad knowledge of song repertoire. In both the show choir and in voice lessons, my goals for my students are that they learn good vocal technique and they also develop strong, confident performance skills. Especially in show choir, we work on stage deportment as a regular component of their class time. And so this is also an aspect that carries over into their life in the real world, whether it's giving a public performance or giving a speech or giving an interview. So if you are interested in singing, if you have no formal background and you've given some of your best concerts in your car, or if you have a lot of experience, take voice lessons. It doesn't matter your background. If you're interested in performing as part of a contemporary vocal ensemble, come check out the show choir. We would love to have you. Thank you.
Right, let me just move forward to it. Let me talk a little bit about the core academic music courses. So we have Music Theory 1 and 2. This is where you learn all the scales, triads, everything like that. And if you're curious what that class is about, you can go to YouTube and just look up my name, Christopher Brellox. I have a YouTube channel where I've uploaded all of my music theory lectures. I teach this class typically. And you can kind of see what it's about. So you can get a jump start on all of this. Now, if Music Theory 1 is, you're not quite ready for that, we do offer Introduction to Music Theory. So that's one more reason why it's important to have that placement audition to make sure you're in the right class for your success. Coupled with Music Theory 1 and 2 is Oral Skills 1 and 2, and that's training your ear. That's things like, and I'm just leaning over here, like having you being able to identify that interval by name and knowing what that's called so that it can help you as a teacher and as a performer. There's also history of music before 1750 and after 1750. And for our PFA music track program, which is slightly different. Right now, everything I'm talking about is for both the certificate program and the PFA music track. The group piano right now is only a requirement in the PFA music track. It's an elective for the music certificate. And this is for non-piano players because the piano is so important as a foundation for you to understand harmony and really understand music. So let me have our next professor who teaches the group piano class as well as the jazz ensemble and private lessons tell you a little bit more about group piano.
Hi, my name is Larry Ham. I'm a jazz pianist and I'm on the faculty at the Dutchess Community College Academy of Music. There are typically 2 levels of group piano. They are actually a requirement for the performing arts music track, unless you're a pianist, and then you get an exemption. But almost everyone takes Piano 1 and Piano 2 classes, sometimes actually meet concurrently so that we have both levels in the room at the same time. We meet in a room that has a number of electronic keyboards, and everyone has headphones on, sort of working on an individual basis, but with group assignments, building basic piano skills. I feel this is a really valuable course for everyone. It helps you understand the theory that you're taking in your music theory classes, and it also helps develop your pitch recognition and your understanding of harmony, and helps you develop your all-around musicianship. Piano is traditionally known as the best way to do that. So it's a really important class to take as part of your curriculum. I've been a jazz pianist all my life, and so I'm often working with students who are interested in jazz piano or in any other kinds of, let's say, pop or funk or gospel music that requires some improvisation and a knowledge of theory at the piano, including chords, approaches to improvising, and ways of learning how to be authentic with whatever style of music that you're interested in playing. Jazz Ensemble is open to students who play any variety of instruments in a typical jazz setting. We play music from all kinds of styles, but mostly jazz and some Afro-Cuban funk styles of music. And along the way, we work on our improvisation skills. We try to strengthen our music reading skills and generally have a good time and try to create as strong of a performing ensemble as possible at the end of each semester. And finally, I'd like to say that I really enjoy teaching at Dutchess because I was a student at Dutchess quite a few years ago, actually, now that I think about it. But it's wonderful to be part of the program and continue the tradition that helped me start on my career as a professional musician. So I hope that you'll join me in classes and lessons and whatever other interests you have in music. We look forward to seeing you at Dutchess Community College.
So let's talk about the actual curriculum. So this is for the MPC, which is short for Music Performance Certificate. You can complete this program in 2 semesters. You don't have to, but that is the norm. So there is ways that you can adjust it and tailor it to your needs. But this is the most recommended option. So you'll take an English class, a writing class, in your first semester, and everything else will be music classes. So you'll take Oral Skills 1, Music Theory 1, History of Music 1, Advanced Music Performance, which is a 90-minute lesson every week, one 90-minute lesson every week, and you'll choose from one of our ensembles. So you're going to get a really well-rounded musical education when you take all of those courses. Your second semester, you're essentially taking the same courses, but just the second level of those. So you're taking another English class to develop your writing skills. You're going to use that in your history of music class because there's going to be a term paper and research stuff like that. And then you're taking the second semester of oral skills, music theory, history, and an ensemble. And it's a program that totals about 30 credits. Now, let me have another one of our wonderful teachers tell you about, and let me actually back up. You can see that chorus, jazz ensemble, orchestra. Sometimes we offer a guitar ensemble, guitar consort, and show choir. And this is Ann Foster, who teaches the chorus. So she's going to tell you a little bit more about what's involved with that ensemble.
Hi, my name is Ann Foster, and I direct the chorus at Dutchess Community College, as well as teach voice lessons there. When directing the chorus, because the group is open to both college students and community members, we try to start where everyone is technically and choose literature that's challenging and fun to sing. Most semesters we're able to pair up with the orchestra and do an orchestral choral piece, which is a lot of fun. So while you're rehearsing every Monday night, we're learning basic vocal technique. We're learning pieces in languages other than English. We're learning music in many different styles, and with the goal of giving a fine performance at the end of each semester. For voice lessons, because students at Dutchess Community College have such a wide range of interests musically, what I do is I take each student where they are, take into account the interests that they have in the musical styles that they're committed to, and teach them healthy vocal technique that will get them closer to their goals. And hopefully will also open them up to singing in a number of different styles, whatever they're interested in exploring. That's what I'm interested in working with them on. But it's all with the goal of building healthy vocal technique that will last a lifetime.
So let's take a look at the curriculum map for the PFA music track. That's the Performing Arts Music track. You're going to take PFA 100, which is the Performing Arts Introductory Seminar class. That's kind of telling you about everything that's involved in having a success as a performer or in the music field. So we're going to talk about making sure that you have a great resume, start to develop a press kit, and develop a website, and talk about social media and all of the factors that go into the promotion of yourself as an artist. You'll take the English class just like you did, like we had in the MPC program. You'll also take a math class. You'll take oral skills, music theory, you'll take group piano, and the performance and applied music 1 and 2 are lessons. And you'll take an ensemble. So there's a lot of overlap between the PFA music track and the music performance certificate. Actually, so much overlap that if you complete the PFA music track, you will have also completed the certificate, and you can get awarded both. In your second semester, you'll take English 102, you'll take social problems in today's world, which is a general education requirement. You'll take an art class, Art 101 or Art 104, which is art history or fundamentals of art. You'll take oral skills 2, music theory 2, group piano 2. You'll take performance and applied 3 and 4, which are more lessons, and you'll take an ensemble again. Moving on to your third semester, you'll take an American history class as a general education requirement. You'll take a foundations of dance class. And you might be asking yourself, why, as a musician, would I be taking a dance class? And I'll tell you right now, I remember someone telling me that, Dr. B, I think that your rhythm as my primary instrument is saxophone. So they were telling me, you would have better rhythm as a saxophonist if you took dance lessons. And you know what? I didn't want to dance. I was like, no, I don't want to dance. I just want to play music. I actually ended up years later taking some dance classes. And who would have known, right? They were right. All of a sudden, my sense of rhythm got better because I experienced rhythm in a different way that made things connect in my mind and in my soul in a way that it just hadn't. So we have that. We have theater history. Why a theater class? Well, you know what? You got to be on stage as a performer, and you should know how to conduct yourself on stage. And theater gives you another unique perspective into that. We have our history of music class. We have our advanced music performance, which is our lessons, and another semester of ensembles. Then in your fourth and final semester, you have a science class, history of music after 1750, advanced music performance 2, which is more lessons, because like I said, that's the backbone of the program. An ensemble, you have some electives there, some performance courses and some free electives. And the total program is 64 credits. Let's talk a little bit more about those general education requirements. English 101, English 102, a math class, social problems in today's world, like a social studies class, an American history class, and a science classes. Now, what's nice is that these can usually be taken over the summer or winter intersession. So if you want to get ahead, or you need to, let's say, maybe you can't take the full 16 credits a given semester, you can still stay on track to graduate on time by taking some of these general education requirements over the summer. Or perhaps you come in with some, because you did something in high school and you have some of these already taken care of. Performing arts requirements. These are outside of the music area, but things I already mentioned. The PFA 100 Performing Arts Seminar class, that's going to help you with kind of the business side of being a musician. Theater history to help you feel more comfortable on stage and understand that aspect of art. Dance, foundations of dance, and then an art class to kind of give you a well-rounded understanding of all of the arts and kind of see how they all connect to music. Music electives. We already heard about vocal repertoire, but there's also a class called History of American Musical Theater. So if you're very much interested in musical theater, that is a class for you. And another class called Electronic Music Workshop, which is geared towards those of you who are interested in composing, production, audio recording. And then a class that's outside of the music program called COM, which is short for Communications, Basic Music Production, which deals with microphones, cables, software that you would be using. So these electives are things that you can also take. So I'm going to ask Dr. Gerby to log in one more time because she is the most frequent teacher of history of American musical theater. And I'd like her to tell you just a little bit more about that.
Well, hello again. So yes, the history of American musical theater is a major passion of mine. And one of the reasons is, if you've ever studied this body of literature, that American musical theater history is American history. It's this art form that's completely unique to our country, that began at the beginning of the 20th century as all of these immigrant populations were coming to New York City. And as if you know history, those populations mixing and creating all of these intercultural influences, not dissimilar to where jazz was born. And we have this art form that has managed to reflect everything that's gone on in American society. We see prohibition reflected in the musical. We see the civil rights movement reflected in the musical. We see the women's rights reflected in the musical. We see various queer and LGBTQ issues today being reflected in the musical. And so as the musical has marched forth through time, it keeps changing to be this mirror of who we are and what stories we have as a people to tell. And so this class is really, really focused on looking at all of these events in history and how this art form has changed along with them. Absolutely imperative for anyone who is interested in doing this art form to really understand that, because musicals are not only reflective of the time that they were written, but they're also reflective of the time in which they are produced. So for example, if you have a show that was written in 1945, but is being produced on Broadway in 2019, like for example, Oklahoma, written in 1943, but was produced on Broadway last year, it's going to look very, very, very different because society's values have changed. And this class teaches us how to unpack those relationships and moreover see where the musical is headed next for the next generation of makers.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm going to have one of our other teachers, Spencer Bambrick, talk a little bit about some of those other electives. He teaches the electronic music workshop class, the basic music production, and individual lessons in any kind of audio production, composition, or any of that type of discipline. So this is Spencer telling you a little bit more about all that.
Hi everyone, I'm Spencer Bambrick. I've been teaching at Dutchess since 2014, and I've been a composer and sound designer for video games and media for even longer. So I teach everything related to sound: electronic music production, composition lessons, music production lessons, basic recording, and sound design and media. So electronic music production is an elective, and it's my goal for students to walk away with at least two things after they're done with that course. The first is a very practical experience creating music. So the course is designed around individual projects that students can have a lot of influence over as far as genre and type of music. So from day one, they're going to be working on industry standard software to create music. The second thing is, I think, equally important, a very critical ear for music creation and for composition and mixing. So the first half of the class is basically a workshop, but the other half is really a group discussion, brainstorming session where students can give and receive feedback, and they learn to do so very constructively, which I think is a very important aspect or very important skill to have in the industry. So that's about the gist of it, and I hope to see you all in class.
All right.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, there we go. I mentioned also that the Academy of Music has a credit-free side, and so I put that website there again, and you can read the bios of all these instructors and kind of see what they did. So if you go to Academy of Music and you click on the left side, there's a tab that says instructors. You can read bios of what all these wonderful teachers have done. And you can learn more about the credit-free side, and it'll give you links to the credit music program that I've just been talking about. We also have a YouTube channel for the credit-free side, Dutchess Community College Academy of Music. And sometimes our credit students will take credit-free lessons. In part, if let's say you're not necessarily the greatest student yet, and you're working on developing your college skills, you might want to focus in on some of your, making sure you do real well on some of your core credit classes that I talked about. And you might find that halfway through the semester, things are going really well and you actually have room in your schedule for something else. So you can sign up for one of our credit-free lessons. We have like what we call a 4-pack, and just take some of those to kind of expand things in whatever area you want. Those lessons could be in music theory, in training your ear, in composing. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. Again, this is the Dutchess Community College Academy of Music. I want music for all. I'm Dr. Christopher Brellox. You can see my email address right there. You can see Francisco's again for registration and advising. Please email either one of us to register or to ask a question. Visit the college's main website at www.sunydutchess.edu. Thank you all so much for listening to this presentation. And I really think that Dutchess Community College has some amazing things to offer musicians, and I'm very proud to say that we have a track record of showing that people who come to our program transfer to other colleges, prestigious colleges, and actually get jobs in the music industry. Thank you again for coming, and I hope to see you in class.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. We appreciate it. That was great information, and thank you so much for providing it. This is the opportunity now for people to ask questions, and hopefully you do have some questions, and we certainly have the energy and enthusiasm that I love here to take care of your questions. I want to make sure any